this is my journal. This is the one that I'm currently using. And I think it begins with being really into the stationery. And this is a brilliant, look at it, it's absolutely gorgeous. That's a lovely journal to be writing in. And yeah, that just at the beginning is inspiring. And inside, I always begin each journal with some symbols, creating because it's almost like, yeah, whatever I create here sort of influences what happens in this journal. I always think that it's really interesting, the idea of, does life create art or art create life? My life has become that art creates my life. Like, it's create or be created. I'm creating a wicked, awesome, compassionate and passionate and extraordinary life. That's what I'm doing. And that's who I am. And this is like, it's spelling. You're spelling the world into creation. You know, they're actual spells. So this symbol here is about just being completely open and happy and joyous and abundant and strong and spiritual and centered and just, yes. And then this is the balance, just finding balance. And that's what I'm about at the moment. That's what I'm doing, is developing a neutral mind and just being balanced in myself. And then these are runes that I pulled that kind of were just telling me what was going on for me at the moment. And I've got, that's Thor, which is also kind of represents Dizzle, because he has it tattooed on his hand. That's my rune, Ing. And then, oh, actually, these were the runes of the pilgrimage. So I just realised. So yeah, the first pilgrimage, Michael and Mary, was those ones. And then that's the Spine of Albion. So they've all led me here. And then this is my star of my flower, of power flower, of my strengths, just to remind myself what are my like powerful things. So I think I pulled this rune. So this is being really brave and heart, taking heart. Now what I do in the front of each of my journals is I have this. So this is my cycles. So I'm charting my cycles, my period cycles. And this shows me, I have a 24-day cycle. So that's each phase. And there's the symbols for it. And then as I go through the month, I draw where I'm at in my phase here with the days. And then this is the actual moon. So that's a new moon in Aries. So that's it's Aries season, and it's between, and we've got them here. So this is the wheel of the year. We are currently between Beltane and Midsummer. So whilst, so this was from before, when it was between Ostara and Beltane. That's that symbol there. But we're now here, so I'm using that symbol now. If you look at my later, but actually I was on holiday, so I had to use another journal while I was on holiday, because I didn't have my book for some reason. Oh, it was left at a pub. Yeah, so it means that at the top of my journal I've got where my period cycle is, where the moon is, what chunk of the year we're in, and what season we're in. And then it just means I just follow it. And then in terms of what I write, I think writing a journal is very much about, you know, the sad things, but I think it's about having the permission, it's giving yourself permission to just really explore stuff. So high wisdom, success, faith in miracles, spirit, gratitude. This is me like just dreaming things, what I would really like to create. And then, yeah, when I do ceremonies, I will always write in here. So I've got all the stuff from the ceremonies in here. And it's just, yeah, it's like, I think a big part of writing a journal is about giving yourself permission. So I've gone through different phases. Sometimes I've written a poem a day. I did one journal that was all just drawing. So I did like cartoons each day. And so like, it's like learning an instrument. I said this before about meditation. I am a writer, and the reason why I can write is because I do this every day. So it's about thinking kind of experimentally about, you know, allowing yourself to explore different things. So, you know, write a list of gratitude of things that you're grateful for example. You can do rune readings or tarot readings and be writing down what they say. You can write down your dreams. Like, it's just giving yourself permission to explore your inner world through words. And the key aspects of that is thinking about close, middle and far. So I once squatted a woman's house and all her belongings were in there. She died and all her stuff was left behind. And I read all of her letters and diaries and went on to make a show about her life and kind of led to the museum that I created and all sorts of things. But it was interesting because all the while I felt like me and her were really similar, just based on her decor and clothes and the things she was into. But then when I read her diaries, and I was a bit worried because she died an alcoholic on her own, and no one like found her for a week or two because she'd kind of, you know, shut everyone out through her alcoholism. And I was really scared of the thought of dying on my own an alcoholic. So I was like, okay, I don't really want to follow that route. So when I actually read her diaries, the thing that I noticed is that we were actually very different. Like, I do a lot of close, middle and far in my in journal writing. By that I mean close as in personal emotional stuff, like talking about how I feel about things. Middle is what I've been up to, and far is what's going on politically. And it's just interesting because when I read her diaries in the end, I realised that actually they were all basically just middle. Like, she didn't talk about her feelings. She never delved into how she felt about things, and she never talks about politics. And I knew that she was really into politics because apparently that's the sort of thing that when she was at the pub she'd argue. You know, she liked a good debate and she was extremely intelligent. But for some reason that didn't translate into her diaries. I think she might have been on the spectrum, that's what I kind of came to. So this is a space where you can, you know, if you want to, like, I've seen diaries where people have literally just listed all the things they bought, you know, and listed what they buy each day. And actually that's interesting, like Samuel Pepys, the stuff that's really useful for people in the future is stuff like how much things were, you know, as much as your life might be interesting. I mean, they're interested to like hear about things, but it's like knowing how much things cost, how you got about, how you did things, what food you're eating. They're all really interesting. That's the sort of stuff that people want to know in the future. So you can put all of that kind of stuff down, and it depends on if you know, are thinking that someone might read it. I write it as if someone's going to read about my life. That's why I write my diaries, imagining. And it's kind of just to be like, I was here, and I have been writing diaries since I was 8, so I've got my whole life written down, and it's, yeah, it just feels like I've got a body of something that's just like, no matter what, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years after I'm gone, someone can find those diaries and read those diaries and you know, learn about me. So it's just, yeah, it's kind of like an immortalizing thing. And I guess I'm going to be giving my diaries to an archive of some description. And that's kind of something that is being developed. Like, that's why I created the Museum of Ordinary People. So we've got this archive that's for ordinary people and ordinary people's stories. So that's like, you know, basically made my own archive so that I can keep my diaries in it. But I just, yeah, it's such a, like, the main key is to give yourself permission to just try different things out. You can Google journal prompt ideas and have a little play around. I'll do things like The Artist's Way, which is absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend that. That's a really good book. They in that, she tells you to do morning pages where you write for like 3 pages every morning, and that's kind of like a brain drain, and that's a good way of clearing your head. Personally, I use mine as a mirror book, which is what it's called if you write it in the evening. So I reflect on what happened during the day, and I kind of find it a nice way of like finishing off the day. And I don't do it every day, but quite often if I've not written it for a week, I'll sort of go back. If things have been interesting, I'll just kind of recap what's happened throughout the week and do a bit of a catch up. But yeah, it's completely up to you how you want to do that. But it's like, it's my best friend. It's just this little thing that I get to share my stuff with. And yeah, hopefully something, it definitely is good for you. Psychologically, it's really helpful. And then also creatively, it's really, like I say, like learning an instrument. I found my voice as a writer through doing this. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just interesting, like reading my voice when I was 8 compared to now, and just all of the different and lessons that I keep thinking I'm learning for the first time, that actually when I look back through my diaries I'm like, oh my god, I've been learning this lesson on repeat for my whole life. So it's just things like that. It's useful and interesting. So yeah, I think it's something that really helps with my mental health and well-being.